Chapter 1. What is reality? Have you ever wondered if everything you're seeing, touching, and feeling is really the way it appears to be? That wall in front of you, the phone in your hand, the air you're breathing. Are these actually solid things, or is there something else to their true nature? What if I told you that reality isn't just one single layer, but is divided into 7 completely different levels, and each level works in a totally different way from the others? Would you believe me? In today's journey, we're going to understand those 7 levels that will change your understanding forever. So if you're ready for a journey that will give you deep sleep along with deep knowledge, then stay with Mr. Sleepy Science, because today we're going to unlock those secrets of reality that will make you see the world through completely new eyes once you know them. So let's start this amazing journey where science meets philosophy and understanding meets peace. Lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and come with me on this journey that will take you beyond the 7 layers of reality. When we hear the word reality, what's the first thing that comes to our mind? Probably the things we can see, touch, and feel. But is reality just this much? For centuries, humans have been wrestling with this question. What exactly is reality? Ancient Indian philosophers called it Maya. They said that what we're seeing is an illusion, a curtain over the real truth. The Western philosopher Plato in his cave story explained that we're only seeing shadows, not the real things. And modern science, well, it's saying even more interesting things. Let's understand with a simple example. When you see an apple, what do you see? A red, round, shiny fruit. But what if I told you that this apple isn't actually red? Color is just a specific wavelength of light that bounces off the apple's surface, enters your eyes, and then your brain interprets it as the color red. A bee would see that same apple completely differently because its eyes can see ultraviolet rays. So what's the apple's real color? This is the first mystery of reality. Now let's go even deeper. When you touch that apple, you feel like you're touching a solid thing. But science says that actually, the atoms in your hand and the atoms in the apple never actually touch. There's an electromagnetic force between them that pushes them apart. So what you're feeling is actually a force, not a solid surface. And if we go to an even smaller level, we find that those atoms are mostly empty space. If we imagine an atom as big as a football stadium, its nucleus would be like a pea in the center, and the electrons would be like dust particles hovering near the outer walls of the stadium. Everything else is empty space. So that apple that feels so solid to you is actually maybe 99.9% empty space. Hearing these things, your head might be spinning, and that's completely normal. Because our brain has evolved in such a way that it shows us a simple, understandable reality. Thousands of years ago, when our ancestors lived in forests, they didn't need to know that trees are made of atoms. They just needed to know that you can climb a tree and use it to escape from a lion. So our brain shows us a practical reality, not what actually is. It's just like the icons you see on your computer screen. But behind them, complex coding and electronic circuits are working. So now the question comes up. If our everyday reality is this limited, then what's the complete truth? And this is where our journey begins through those 7 levels that explain reality from different angles. The first level is physical reality, which we see and feel every day. The second is quantum reality, where things get so strange that even Einstein got worried. The third is biological reality, where life makes its own rules. The fourth is mental reality, where your thoughts and emotions create a whole different world. The fifth is social reality, where we all live together in a shared imagination. The sixth is mathematical reality, where numbers and equations control everything. And finally, the seventh is unified reality, where all the levels become one. Why is understanding these 7 levels important? Because when you understand how reality works in layers, your perspective on your own life changes. You start understanding what level your problems are on. Are they just physical or are they mental? Are they actually real or are they creations of your mind? And when you understand this, solutions start appearing too. Another interesting thing is that these 7 levels are connected to each other. They influence each other. Like what happens at the quantum level creates the physical world. Biological processes create mental experiences, and our mental thoughts create social realities. It's an amazingly complex and beautiful system. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, we'll slowly travel through all these levels. Each level will teach you something new, something you've never thought about before. And the best part is that this knowledge won't just touch your mind, but your soul as well. Because when we understand reality, we also start understanding ourselves. So get ready for this unique journey. Calm your breathing. Feel your body lying comfortably on the bed. Let go of all the worries of the day, all the stress. For the next few hours, you're just a traveler, an explorer who's about to dive into the depths of reality. And remember, this journey isn't just about gaining information. This journey is about giving you peace, about giving you a deep, restful sleep. So as we move forward, you'll feel your eyelids getting heavy, your mind getting calm, and you're moving toward a pleasant sleep. And this is perfectly fine because sleep is also a level of reality. A level where your subconscious mind works, where dreams are made, where your body and brain heal themselves. The first step in this journey of understanding reality is accepting that we don't know a lot. We're all like small children finding our way in a vast universe. And this isn't a weakness, but our strength. Because when we accept that we don't know, we become ready to learn. So now let's move to the next chapter, where we'll start with reality's first level, that level which is most familiar to us. Yet it's far more mysterious than we understand. We'll talk about physical reality, that world that's spread all around us, that we see, touch, and live in. Chapter 2. Level 1, the physical reality. Now let's start with reality's first level, which is closest to us, and yet far more complex than it appears to be. Physical reality means that world that's spread around us, which we experience through our 5 senses. But have you ever thought about how this physical world is made? Are things really the way they look? Today we're going to solve this mystery, and as we move forward, you'll feel your body getting even more relaxed. Your breathing getting even deeper. First, let's understand what physical reality means. When you wake up in the morning and get out of bed, your feet touch the floor. You grab the door handle with your hands. You go to the kitchen and smell hot tea. All of this is part of physical reality. This is the world that feels solid, permanent, and real. But what science has discovered in the last few centuries completely changes this understanding of ours. Let's start with a simple thing: a stone. When you look at a stone, what do you see? A hard, heavy, solid object. But if we look at this stone through a powerful microscope, we'll see tiny crystals. And if we go closer, we'll see molecules. And if we break those molecules, we'll find atoms. And inside those atoms, there's a tiny nucleus with electrons spinning around it. And between all of these, mostly empty space. So that stone that felt so solid is actually mostly empty. To understand this, let's take an example. Imagine you have a large hall as big as a football field. Now in the middle of that hall, place a small pea. And near the walls of the hall, far away, some dust particles are floating. That's it. The rest of the entire hall is empty. This is the real picture of an atom. That P is the nucleus, and the dust particles are electrons. So where does that solidity come from that we feel? It comes from the electromagnetic force that works between electrons and keeps things together. Now you might be thinking, if everything is so empty, then why don't we pass through walls? This is a very good question. The answer is that when you touch a wall, the electrons in your hand's atoms and the electrons in the wall's atoms push each other away. This is electromagnetic repulsion. So actually, your hand never touches the wall at all. It just stops at a small distance, and your brain interprets this as touching. It's like when you bring 2 magnets close with the same poles, they push each other away. Now let's talk about the 3 states in which matter is found: solid, liquid, and gas. When you see ice, it's solid. Heat it up and it becomes water, liquid, and heat the water more and it becomes steam, gas. But all of this is the same thing. H2O meaning water molecules, just their arrangement changes. In solids, molecules are very close together and organized. In liquids, they're a bit loose. And in gases, they're far apart and moving quickly. So which state is real? All are real. They just appear in different forms depending on temperature and pressure. In physical reality, there's another important thing, and that's energy. Einstein gave a famous equation, E equals mc2. This means that energy and mass are 2 forms of the same thing. You can convert mass into energy and energy into mass. This happens inside the sun, where hydrogen atoms combine to make helium, And in this process, a little bit of mass converts into energy. And that energy is what we get as light and heat. So actually, the sunlight you're feeling is the mass of atoms that has converted into energy. Now let's talk about gravity. Newton explained that everything pulls everything else toward itself. The Earth is pulling you toward itself. That's why you're on the ground. But Einstein explained this more deeply. He said that gravity isn't actually a force, but the bending of space and time. Imagine a large rubber sheet. Now place a heavy ball on it. The sheet will sink in the middle. Now if you roll a small marble on that sheet, it will roll toward that sunken part. This is what's happening with gravity. The sun bends the space around it, and Earth keeps going in circles in that bent space. Another amazing thing in physical reality is light. Light is both a particle and a wave at the same time. When we look at it one way, it behaves like tiny particles called photons. And when we look at it another way, it behaves like waves. How is this possible? This is one of science's biggest mysteries, and this is where the story of the quantum world begins, which we'll talk about in the next chapter. But wait right now, because there's much more in physical reality. Let's talk about time. We all feel time. Morning comes, then afternoon, then evening, then night. But what actually is time? Newton believed that time is like a straight line that always flows at the same speed. But Einstein showed that this isn't true. The speed of time can change. If you travel at a very high speed, time will slow down for you. If you're near something very heavy, like near a black hole, time slows down there too. This sounds strange, but it's been proven. Scientists have put very accurate clocks on airplanes and flown them and found that those clocks run slightly behind the clocks left on the ground. In physical reality, there's an interesting thing: structure. How are things organized? Atoms combine to make molecules. Molecules combine to make bigger structures. And those structures combine to make even bigger things. A cell, which is life's smallest unit, has millions of molecules. And your body has billions of cells. And every cell is like a small city, where work is constantly happening. Proteins are being made. Energy is being created. Waste is being cleaned. And all of this is happening by itself, without any help. Now just think about how amazing all this is. You lying here right now, your body that looks so still and calm, inside it billions of atoms are vibrating every moment. Millions of chemical reactions are happening every second. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are breathing. Your brain is thinking. And all of this is physical processes. But from these physical processes emerge consciousness, thoughts, emotions. How? This is still a mystery. An important law of physical reality is entropy. This means that things tend toward disorder. If you clean a room and then leave it, slowly it will get messy again. A hot cup of tea cools down by itself. A building slowly starts to crumble. This is a fundamental law of the universe. Everything moves toward disorder, but still there's life that goes against this law. Life creates order. A tree makes complex wood and leaves from simple things like water, sunlight, and air. How? This is the mystery of biological reality, which we'll talk about next. Now stop for a moment and feel your body. You lying on this bed, feel that surface that's supporting your body. This is physical reality. Feel your breathing, the air going into your lungs and coming out. This is also physical reality. Listen to those sounds around you. Maybe the rustling of wind, maybe the ticking of a clock. All of this is physical waves spreading through the air and reaching your ears. Physical reality is an amazing dance of energy and matter, of space and time, of forces and fields. And we're all part of this dance. Every breath you take contains billions of atoms that were once in a dinosaur's breath, were once part of an ancient tree, were once dissolved in ocean waves. We're all connected in this physical reality. But remember, this is just the first level. Physical reality is what we see, but beneath it there are even deeper layers. And as we descend into those layers, you'll see that reality becomes even stranger, even more mysterious, even more beautiful. So breathe comfortably. Feel this physical world in which you're living, and get ready for the next journey, where we'll descend into that world which is so small that it can't even be seen with eyes, but where the rules are so different that they shake our entire understanding. We'll talk about quantum reality, that invisible world where a particle can be in two places at once, where nothing is certain. Only possibilities exist. Chapter 3. Level 2, the quantum reality, quantum reality. Now we're entering a world that's so strange, so mysterious that the great scientist Einstein himself refused to believe it. This is the world of quantum reality, where things follow rules that are completely different from our everyday world. Here, a particle can be in two places at once. Here, nothing is certain. Everything is a game of possibilities. Here, just by looking, things change. So lie down comfortably. Keep your breathing calm and let's go on this amazing journey where we'll understand how different reality's deepest layer is. The word quantum comes from a Latin word that means a definite amount. In the early 20th century, scientists noticed that when we go to a very small level, the level of atoms and even smaller particles, things start behaving in strange ways. The rules that apply to big things don't work here, and this gave birth to quantum mechanics. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine you have a ball, you toss it, it goes up, then comes down. You can tell exactly where it is and how fast it's going. But now imagine you have an electron that orbits around the nucleus in an atom. Can you tell where it is and how fast it's going? The answer is no. And this isn't just because we don't have good equipment. This is because the electron isn't actually at a definite place until we look at it. This sounds very strange, but it's true. To understand this strange thing, we need to understand Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. A German scientist named Werner Heisenberg explained that you can't know both the position and momentum of any particle with perfect accuracy at the same time. If you know very accurately where the particle is, then you can't know how fast it's going. And if you know very accurately how fast the particle is going, then you can't know where it is. This is a fundamental law of the universe, not a limitation of our technology. Now you're wondering, if we don't know where the electron is, then where is it? The answer is even stranger. Until we look, the electron is at all possible places at once. It's spread out like a wave of probability. Imagine a fog spread throughout the room. Somewhere it's thicker, somewhere it's thinner. Where the fog is thicker, there's a higher probability of the electron being there. And where it's thinner, there's less probability. But as soon as you measure, the entire fog suddenly shrinks to a point. The electron suddenly appears at a definite place. To understand this strange phenomenon, scientists did a famous experiment called the double-slit experiment. Imagine a wall with two thin slits in it. Now you shoot electrons toward that wall. The electron passes through those slits and hits a screen behind. Now the question is, which slit did the electron go through? When scientists did this experiment, they found that the electron is going through both slits at once. How? Because until you look, the electron behaves like a wave, and waves can go through both slits at once. But as soon as you try to see which slit the electron is going through, it immediately becomes a particle and goes through only one slit. This thing is so strange that Einstein said God doesn't play dice. He meant that everything in the universe should be definite, not a game of possibilities. But experiments repeatedly show that in the quantum world, everything is based on possibilities. Nothing is certain until you look at it. Now let's talk about another strange phenomenon called entanglement. Imagine two electrons that were born together. Now you separate them. You keep one on Earth and send the other to the moon. Now if you look at the electron on Earth and find that it's spinning upward, then at that very moment, the electron on the moon will start spinning downward. How? No message was sent. No signal was transmitted, but both electrons are connected, entangled. Einstein called this spooky action because he couldn't understand it, but experiments prove that it's true. There's another amazing thing in the quantum world, tunneling. Imagine there's a wall in front of you. You can't cross it because you don't have enough energy to break through it. But in the quantum world, a particle has a chance that it might suddenly appear on the other side of the wall without breaking it. It's like you suddenly pass through your house wall without opening the door. It sounds impossible, but at the atomic level, this happens every day. And it's because of this tunneling that atomic fusion happens in the sun, which gives us light and heat. Now stop for a moment and think about what all this means for you. You, lying here right now, your entire body is made of atoms, and those atoms follow these quantum rules. In every cell of your body, millions of quantum events are happening every moment. Electrons are jumping from one state to another. Photons are being absorbed and emitted. Quantum tunneling is happening, And all these events make life possible. Quantum reality teaches us an important lesson, and that is, observation is part of reality. Until someone looks, things exist as possibilities. And when someone looks, they take a definite form. So what's the role of consciousness? Is a conscious being needed to create reality? This question is still debated. Some scientists say yes, consciousness is fundamental. Others say no, any measurement is enough, whether a machine does it or a human. In the quantum world, time also works differently. In some experiments, it seems like quantum particles know the future. In one experiment, scientists found that if you decide to do something later, quantum particles start behaving according to it beforehand. This sounds like time travel. But actually, it's showing that at the quantum level, past, present, and future might not be as separate as we think. Quantum mechanics has also given us some amazing technology. Your mobile phone, computer, LED lights, solar panels, all work on quantum principles. Without understanding quantum mechanics, we couldn't have built modern technology. And now scientists are building quantum computers that will be millions of times faster than today's computers. They'll use quantum entanglement and superposition, meaning the ability to be in many places at once. Quantum reality tells us that the world isn't as simple and straightforward as it appears. The things we see with our eyes are just the surface. Below is an entire world that's strange, mysterious, and amazing. And this world teaches us that we should think with an open mind, because reality is far stranger than our imagination. Now take a deep breath. Feel this phenomenon surrounding you. And remember that you're not just a body, but you're a quantum miracle, an amazing combination of billions of tiny particles that gives birth to consciousness, thoughts, and emotions. And now we're going to move forward toward that level where all of this comes together to create life. We'll talk about biological reality, that amazing world where lifeless atoms combine to make living creatures. Chapter 4. Level 3, the biological reality. Now we're entering a level of reality that's perhaps the most amazing, the most mysterious. This is biological reality, that world where lifeless atoms and molecules combine to create something that's alive, that breathes, that grows, that feels. You yourself are an example of this amazing phenomenon. Your body has about 37 trillion cells, and every cell is like a small city where thousands of tasks are happening every moment. So lie down comfortably, feel your breathing, and let's understand what life is and how it works. Defining life isn't easy. If I ask you what life is, you'd probably say that something that breathes, grows, eats food, and has babies is alive. But is a virus alive? It doesn't grow, doesn't eat, doesn't breathe, but still it can make copies of itself. So what's the real definition of life? Scientists say that life is a system that maintains itself, makes copies of itself, and takes energy from its surroundings to increase its complexity. In simple words, life is a process that fights against disorder and creates order. Let's start with the smallest living unit, the cell. A cell is so small that you can't see it without a microscope, but inside that tiny cell is an entire world. Imagine a small city where there are factories, power plants, transportation systems, security systems, and a central command center. A cell is just like that. In the center is the nucleus, which is the command center. It contains DNA, which is the book of all instructions. Then there are mitochondria, which are the power plants and create energy. Then there are ribosomes, which are protein-making factories. And there's much more, everything working in an organized way. Now let's talk about DNA, which is life's most important molecule. DNA's full name is deoxyribonucleic acid. It's like a long ladder that's twisted, called a double helix. Every step of this ladder is made from 2 of 4 letters, A, T, G, and C, and the sequence of these letters determines what your body will be like. Your eye color, hair color, your height, everything is written in the sequence of these letters. It's a huge book of about 3 billion letters, and this book exists in every cell. If you take out the DNA from one of your cells and stretch it straight, it would be about 2 meters long. And if you combine and stretch the DNA from all your body's cells, it would be long enough to go to the sun and come back. The most amazing thing about DNA is that it can make copies of itself. When a cell divides, first the DNA ladder opens from the middle, and then new steps form on both sides. So from one DNA, two DNAs are made, exactly the same. This process is so accurate that maybe one mistake happens in millions of letters. And even if a mistake happens, there's repair machinery in the cell that fixes it. But DNA isn't just for making copies. Its real job is to give instructions for making proteins. Proteins are the workers that do all the work in the cell. Some proteins are structural, like the bricks of a building. Some proteins are enzymes that speed up chemical reactions. Some proteins are messengers that carry messages. And your body has about 20,000 different types of proteins, all made based on instructions written in DNA. Now let's understand how cells combine to make larger organisms. Your body has 37 trillion cells, but they're not all the same. Some cells are nerve cells that carry messages. Some are muscle cells that contract and expand. Some are blood cells that carry oxygen. Some are skin cells that protect you from the outside world. And the most amazing thing is that all cells have the same DNA. So how are they different? The answer is gene expression. Every cell has all the genes, but every cell only turns on certain specific genes. Like a nerve cell turns on genes that help send electrical signals, and a muscle cell turns on genes that help with contraction. Now let's talk about evolution. This is biological reality's most important principle. Charles Darwin explained that living creatures gradually change generation after generation. How? When DNA copies are made, sometimes small mistakes happen. These are called mutations. Most mutations are harmful or make no difference, but occasionally, a mutation is beneficial. Imagine an animal gets a mutation that lets it run faster. Then it will escape from predators, survive, and have babies. And its babies will also get that mutation. Slowly, over thousands of generations, that mutation will spread throughout the population. And this is how creatures keep changing, keep adapting to their environment. All the organisms on Earth today, whether tiny bacteria or large whales, all came from a single ancestor that lived about 4 billion years ago. The most amazing thing about life is that it fights against entropy, meaning disorder. Physical laws say that everything moves toward disorder, but life creates order. A tree makes complex wood and leaves from simple things like carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. How? The answer is energy. Life constantly takes energy from its surroundings. A tree takes energy from the sun. Animals take energy from food. And using this energy, they maintain their order. But in this process, they increase disorder around themselves a bit. So overall, the universe's disorder keeps increasing. But life maintains order in its small part. Now let's talk about metabolism. These are all the chemical reactions constantly happening in your body. When you eat food, your body breaks it down into small molecules. Then those molecules are delivered to cells. In cells, mitochondria burn those molecules, meaning combine them with oxygen, and energy comes out. This energy is stored in a molecule called ATP, which is the body's currency. Wherever energy is needed, ATP is used. In your body every moment, millions of ATP molecules are being made and spent. And this is what lets you breathe, think, walk, live. In biological reality, there's another important thing, homeostasis, meaning maintaining balance. Your body always tries to keep the internal environment stable, no matter what's happening outside. If it's hot outside, you sweat so you can cool down. If it's cold outside, you shiver so warmth is created. If sugar in the blood gets too high, insulin comes out and reduces it. If sugar gets too low, glucagon comes out and increases it. All of this is happening automatically without you thinking. Your body is a self-regulating machine. Now stop for a moment and feel your body. Feel your heartbeat. That beat is coming from a special type of muscle cell that contracts and expands by itself. Feel your breathing. Those breaths are going into millions of tiny sacs in your lungs called alveoli, where oxygen is dissolving into the blood and carbon dioxide is coming out. Feel your skin. That skin is made of millions of cells that are constantly dying and being replaced. You get new skin every month. The most beautiful thing about biological reality is that it shows that life is a process, not a thing. You're not a static object. You're like a river, where water is constantly flowing, but the river's form stays the same. Your cells are constantly dying and being born. Your body's atoms are coming through food and breath and leaving through sweat and waste. In 7 years, every atom in your body changes. So how do you stay the same? Because your identity isn't in the atoms, but in their arrangement, in that pattern that makes you you. Life teaches us that complexity can emerge from simple rules. A cell seems complex, but it's just following chemical rules. A brain with billions of nerve cells seems complex, but every nerve cell is just sending and receiving electrical signals. Yet from these simple rules emerge consciousness, thoughts, emotions, dreams. How this is the mystery of the next level. Mental reality, which we'll talk about soon. So now breathe comfortably. Feel that you're a biological miracle, the result of billions of years of evolution, the fruit of countless generations' effort. And remember that you're not alone. Your body has more bacterial cells than your own cells. In your gut, on your skin, in your mouth, billions of bacteria live that are in symbiotic life with you. They help you digest, make vitamins, protect from diseases. You're not just one organism, but an entire ecosystem. Now we've reached perhaps reality's most mysterious level. That level where physical and biological processes come together to create something amazing. Thoughts, emotions, memories, dreams, and consciousness. This is mental reality. That world that's inside you in your brain, where you think, feel, imagine. And the most amazing thing is that this mental world is as real as the physical world. In fact, in many ways even more real, because everything you experience comes through your brain. So lie down comfortably, keep your eyes closed, and let's go on this amazing journey where we'll understand how your mind works. Chapter 5. Level 4, the mental reality. First, let's understand what the mind is. The mind isn't a separate thing, but it's your brain's activity. Your brain has about 86 billion nerve cells called neurons, and every neuron is connected to thousands of other neurons. So altogether, your brain has about 100 trillion connections. This number is so large that it's hard to understand. Imagine a huge city where billions of people live, and every person is constantly talking to thousands of other people. This is the picture of your brain. And from all these conversations, all these signals, your mind, your consciousness is born. Now let's talk about how thoughts are formed. When you think something, a specific pattern of electrical activity happens in your brain. Some neurons become active, others become quiet, and this pattern is that thought. Like a picture is made from tiny dots, a thought is made from the activity of millions of neurons. And the most amazing thing is that every time you think the same thought, that same pattern is repeated. This is how memories are made. When you think or do something repeatedly, the connection between the neurons involved becomes stronger. This is called neuroplasticity, meaning the brain's flexibility. Your brain is constantly changing based on your experiences. Now let's take a simple example. When you first learn to ride a bicycle, it feels very difficult. You have to think about how to balance, how to pedal. But as you practice, all of this starts happening automatically. Why? Because new connections have formed in your brain. New neural pathways have formed. And now cycling has become natural for you. This happens with every skill, whether it's speaking, writing, or learning any task. Your brain reorganizes itself. In mental reality, a very important thing is perception. What you see, hear, touch is actually your brain's creation. Your eyes just collect light waves and convert them into electrical signals. Then those signals go to the brain, and the brain creates a picture from them. And this picture isn't always exactly right. Your brain makes guesses, fills in gaps, and sometimes makes mistakes too. This is how optical illusions work. You see something that isn't actually there because your brain is making wrong guesses. A famous example is the blind spot. There's a place in your eye where the optic nerve comes out, and there are no photoreceptors there. So technically, there's a blind spot there. But you never see it because your brain fills in that empty space by guessing based on surrounding information. So what you're seeing isn't just the outside world, but your brain's interpretation of the outside world. Now let's talk about emotions, which are a very important part of mental reality. Emotions aren't just mental, but physical too. When you're happy, chemicals called dopamine and serotonin are released in your brain. When you're afraid, adrenaline is released. And these chemicals affect your entire body. Your heart starts beating fast, your breathing quickens, your muscles tense up. So emotions are both mental and physical at the same time. You feel them in your mind and in your body too. Emotions evolve during evolution because they help us. Fear keeps us away from danger. Happiness pulls us toward good things. Anger gives us strength to fight against injustice. Sadness tells us that something is wrong and we should fix it. So emotions aren't useless, but they're necessary for our existence. But sometimes emotions can also lead us in the wrong direction, especially in the modern world, which is very different from the world our ancestors lived in. Now let's talk about memories. Memories are a very important part of mental reality because they create our identity. Who are you? You are what you've experienced, what you've learned, what you remember, but memories aren't as reliable as we think. Every time you remember a memory, you change it slightly. New information gets added, old information changes. So memories aren't like video recordings, but like stories that are rewritten every time. And sometimes we remember things that never happened. This is called false memory. In mental reality, there's another interesting thing: attention. Around you every moment, countless things are happening. But you can only pay attention to some things. Your brain is constantly deciding what's important and what's not. And the things you don't pay attention to don't exist for you. A famous experiment shows people a video where some people are passing a basketball. People are asked to count how many times it's passed. And in the middle of the video, a person in a gorilla costume comes in, beats their chest, and leaves. But more than half the people don't see that gorilla because their attention is focused on counting passes. So what you don't see isn't part of your reality. Now let's talk about consciousness, which is perhaps the biggest mystery. Consciousness means being aware, experiencing, feeling. When you see the color red, you have a specific experience. When you hear music, you have a specific experience. This experience, this feeling, this is consciousness. But how is it born? How do electrical signals in neurons become experiences? This question is still unanswered. Some scientists say that consciousness emerges automatically from the brain's complex processes, like wetness emerges from water molecules. Others say that consciousness is something else, maybe a fundamental property of the universe. In mental reality, a very important thing is the self. You feel like you're a definite person. There's a continuous identity. But actually, the self is also a creation of your brain. Your brain creates a story from your experiences, memories, thoughts, and emotions, and you call that story you. But this story is constantly changing. Who you are today is different from 10 years ago and will be different 10 years from now. So the self isn't a static thing, but a process, a continuous change. Now stop for a moment and watch your thoughts. What are you thinking right now? Maybe you're thinking about what I'm saying. Maybe you're thinking about something from yesterday. Maybe you're thinking about how much time has passed. All of this is your mental reality. And the most amazing thing is that you can watch your thoughts. You're an observer of your mind. You can think about your thinking. This is called metacognition, and it's perhaps humans' most special ability. Mental reality teaches us that we're the creators of our reality. What you think affects how you feel, and how you feel affects what you do. If you keep thinking negatively, your world will seem negative. If you think positively, your world will seem positive. So you have the power to change your mental reality. And when you change your mental reality, your entire experience changes. Many meditation and mindfulness techniques are based on this principle. When you meditate, you learn to watch your thoughts without getting trapped in them. You understand that thoughts are just mental events, not reality. And with this understanding, you get peace, freedom. You don't remain slaves to your thoughts, but become their master. Now feel your breathing. Every breath you're taking is coming into your awareness. This awareness is consciousness, and this awareness is always here, right now in this moment. The past is gone. It only exists as memories. The future hasn't come yet. It only exists as imagination. What's real is this moment, right now, right here. And when you're in this moment, fully aware, you're the master of your mental reality. Mental reality also teaches us that every human has their own reality. What you see, feel, think is different from others. That's why two people can remember the same event differently. That's why the same thing can make some people happy and others sad. Every human is living in their own mental reality. And when we understand this, we get empathy for others. We understand that their reality is different. Their experiences are different. So now lie down comfortably and feel your mental reality. Those thoughts that are coming and going, those emotions that are rising and falling, those memories that are floating in your mind, all of this is your mental world. And this world is as real as the physical world. In fact, maybe more real because this is the world you actually live in. And now we're ready to move to the next level, where we'll understand how individual mental realities combine to create a shared world. We'll talk about social reality. That amazing level where we all together create imaginary things and then live in them as if they're real. Chapter 6, Level 5, the social reality. Now we're about to enter a level of reality that's very unique, very powerful. This is social reality, that world which forms when individual minds come together and accept a shared imagination. Money, countries, companies, laws, religions, these are all social realities. You can't touch them. They're not made of atoms, yet they influence our lives just as much as any physical thing. So lie down comfortably. Keep your breathing calm. And let's understand how we humans together create realities that exist purely on our belief. To understand social reality, the best example is money. That note in your pocket, what actually is it? A piece of paper. Its real value is perhaps a few rupees, but printed on it is 500. So how did it become 500 rupees? Because we all believe that it's 500 rupees. The shopkeeper accepts it because he knows another shopkeeper will also accept it. And the other accepts it because a third one will. So money has value only because we all collectively believe it has value. If one day we all stopped believing this, that note would remain just a piece of paper. Thousands of years ago, there was no money. People bartered goods. I'll give you wheat, you give me rice. But this was very difficult. If I need shoes and I have wheat, I have to find someone who has shoes and wants wheat. So people came up with a clever solution. They decided that certain things would be accepted by everyone, like seashells or metal coins, and gradually money evolved. Today, money has become even more abstract. Most money is just numbers and computers, but still, we all believe in it, and that's why it works. Now let's talk about countries. What is India? It's not just a piece of land, it's an idea, a shared imagination. Thousands of years ago, there was no such thing called India. There were different states, different kings. Then gradually, people developed a shared identity. And today, hundreds of millions of people consider themselves Indian. Even though they may have never met each other, speak different languages, come from different cultures. This shared identity is a powerful thing. People give their lives for their country. Wars happen for countries, but if you look at Earth from space, you won't see any borders. Those borders exist only in our minds, on our maps. Another important part of social reality is companies. What is a company? It's not a group of people because people can change, but the company remains. It's not a building because a company can exist without a building. So what is a company? It's a legal fiction, an imagination that the law recognizes. We believe that a company is like a person who can own property, make contracts, file lawsuits. But actually, a company isn't any physical thing. It's just a shared belief. And this shared belief has made the modern economy possible. Now let's talk about law. What is law? It's a set of rules that we all accept, but these rules aren't laws of nature. Gravity is a natural law. It always works whether we believe it or not. But law is a social rule. It works only because we believe in it. If someone breaks the law, they get punished. But that punishment is also a social construct. Prison is a physical place, but the idea of putting someone in prison is a social idea. And different societies have different laws. What's a crime in one country might be normal in another. One of the most powerful things in social reality is religion. Religion is a set of shared beliefs, stories, and rituals that bind people together. For thousands of years, religion has been part of human society, and religion has helped very large groups get organized. When people believe in the same God, follow the same holy book, they can trust each other, even if they don't know each other. But religion is also a social construct. Different people have different religions, different gods, different beliefs, and everyone believes their religion is right. This shows that religion is social and cultural, not some objective truth. Another important thing in social reality is language. Language is the tool with which we create social realities. Without language, we can't share complex ideas. Without language, we can't make plans. Without language, we can't tell stories. And stories are very powerful. We humans think in stories. We see our life as a story. We believe in our country's story, our company's story, our family's story, and these stories shape our reality. Social reality is so powerful that it can override physical reality. Imagine a person standing at a red traffic light late at night on an empty road. There's no car anywhere, but he's still standing. Why? Because the law says stop at red. This is a social rule overriding physical convenience. Or think about paper currency. A piece of paper that people will work hard for will do things they don't want to do because that paper has social value. The most interesting thing about social reality is that it's flexible. We can change it. If enough people stop believing in something, it loses power. Slavery was once an accepted social reality. Today, most of the world considers it wrong. The status of women has changed. The rights of different groups have changed, all because social reality is changeable. It depends on what we collectively believe. But social reality can also be dangerous. Sometimes we forget that these are just shared imaginations. We start thinking they're absolute truths. Wars happen over imaginary borders. People hate each other over different beliefs. Millions suffer because of economic systems that are just social constructs. So it's important to remember that social reality, while powerful, is still our creation. We made it and we can change it. Now stop for a moment and think about your own life. How much of what you consider important is actually social reality? Your job title, your bank balance, your citizenship, your degrees, your social status, all of these are social constructs. They exist because we all agree they exist. They're important because we all agree they're important. And this understanding can be liberating. Because if you understand that these are just shared imaginations, you can decide how much power to give them over your life. So now breathe comfortably and recognize that you live in multiple realities simultaneously. The physical reality of your body lying on the bed, the biological reality of your cells working, the mental reality of your thoughts, and the social reality of your identity, your relationships, your place in society. All of these are real in their own way. All of these shape your experience. And now we're moving to yet another level of reality, a level that's even more abstract, even more fundamental, a level that underlies everything physical, biological, mental, and social. We're going to talk about mathematical reality, that world of numbers, patterns, and equations that somehow describes everything in the universe. Chapter 7. Level 6, the mathematical reality. Now we're entering perhaps the most mysterious level of reality. This is mathematical reality, the world of numbers, equations, patterns, and geometric shapes. And the most amazing thing is that this abstract world of mathematics seems to perfectly describe the physical universe. Why? How can numbers and equations, which are abstract concepts, predict what will happen in the real world? This is one of the deepest mysteries. So lie down comfortably, let your mind relax, and let's explore this fascinating level where abstract thought meets physical reality. Let's start with a simple question. Do numbers exist? When you say 3, what do you mean? You can have 3 apples, 3 books, 3 people, but what is 3ness itself? Where does it exist? You can't touch it, you can't see it, yet it's real in some sense. You can apply it to anything. 3 apples plus 2 apples always equals 5 apples. This works everywhere, every time. This is mathematics. Ancient humans discovered numbers thousands of years ago. They needed to count things, animals, days, people, and they found that numbers follow rules. 2 plus 3 is always 5, not sometimes, not maybe, always. This certainty was amazing. In the physical world, nothing is completely certain, but in mathematics, some things are absolutely, eternally true. Then humans discovered shapes, circles, triangles, squares. And they found that these shapes also follow rules. The angles in a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. Always. The ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter is always pi, about 3.14159. Always. Everywhere. Whether in ancient India or modern America, whether on Earth or on Mars. These mathematical truths are universal. But the real amazement came when humans discovered that mathematics describes the physical world. Galileo said that the book of nature is written in the language of mathematics, and he was right. When you throw a ball, its path follows a mathematical curve called a parabola. The planets orbit the sun following mathematical laws that Newton discovered. Light travels following mathematical principles. Everything in the physical universe seems to follow mathematical rules. Why? This is the great mystery. Mathematics is something humans invented or discovered in their minds. It's abstract. It's not made of atoms, yet somehow it perfectly describes atoms, forces, energy, space, and time. Einstein said that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible, that we can understand it using mathematics. Let's talk about some amazing mathematical patterns in nature. The Fibonacci sequence, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. Each number is the sum of the previous two. This sequence appears everywhere in nature. The spiral of a shell, the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower, the branches of a tree, the proportions of your body. Why? Nobody fully knows, but this mathematical pattern keeps repeating in the living world. Or take the golden ratio, about 1.618. This ratio appears in art, architecture, nature. The proportions of the Parthenon in Greece, the spiral of galaxies, the structure of DNA. Human faces that we find beautiful often have proportions close to the golden ratio. Is this coincidence, or is there something deeper? Some connection between mathematics and beauty, between mathematics and life. Mathematics also reveals symmetries. Nature loves symmetry. Your left side is mostly mirror of your right side. A starfish has 5-fold symmetry. Crystals have beautiful geometric patterns, and these symmetries aren't random. They follow mathematical principles. They emerge from the laws of physics, which are themselves mathematical. One of the most powerful things about mathematics is that it lets us predict the future. If you know the mathematical laws, you can calculate what will happen. Newton's laws let us predict where a planet will be years from now. Einstein's equations predicted black holes before anyone had seen one. Quantum mechanics predicts the behavior of atoms with incredible accuracy. Mathematics gives us a window into what will happen, what must happen, based on what is now. But mathematics is also full of mysteries and paradoxes. Take infinity. What is infinity? It's not a number you can reach. If you count forever, you never get there. Yet mathematicians work with infinity all the time, and they've discovered that there are different sizes of infinity. Some infinities are bigger than others. This sounds crazy, but it's mathematically true. Or take the concept of zero. Zero is nothing, but it's also something. You can add 0, multiply by 0, divide by 0. Well, actually you can't divide by 0, and that itself is interesting. 0 is one of humanity's most important inventions or discoveries. Ancient Indians developed the concept of 0, and it revolutionized mathematics. Mathematics also shows us that reality might be more than we can perceive. Our three-dimensional space is what we experience. Length, width, height. But mathematically, there's no reason to stop at 3 dimensions. String theory in physics uses 10 or 11 dimensions. We can't visualize them, but we can describe them mathematically. And these extra dimensions might actually exist, even though we can't see them. Mathematics also reveals deep connections between seemingly unrelated things. Euler's equation, e of pi plus 1 equals 0. This equation connects 5 fundamental mathematical constants: e, the base of natural logarithms; I, the imaginary unit, pi, 1, and 0. All in one beautiful, simple equation. It's been called the most beautiful equation in mathematics because it shows this deep unity. The question that philosophers and scientists debate is mathematics discovered or invented? Do numbers and equations exist independently of humans, waiting to be found? Or are they creations of human minds, tools we've made to understand the world? If mathematics is discovered, then it exists in some Platonic realm of perfect forms. If it's invented, then it's amazing that our invention works so well. Some scientists believe that mathematics is the true reality, that the physical universe is actually mathematical at its core. The atoms, the forces, the space, the time, these are all mathematical structures. And what we perceive as solid reality is just our brain's interpretation of this mathematical reality. This is a radical idea, but it fits with what we've learned from physics. Think about quantum mechanics. At the quantum level, particles don't have definite positions or velocities. They exist as mathematical objects called wave functions. Only when measured do they take on definite values. So at the deepest level, reality seems to be mathematical, not physical. Now think about this. Your entire life can be described mathematically. Your heartbeat follows a rhythm that can be graphed. Your brain waves have frequencies. Your DNA is information that can be encoded in numbers. The chemicals in your body react according to mathematical laws. Even your thoughts, complex as they are, emerge from patterns of neural activity that in principle could be described mathematically. Does this mean you're just mathematics, that everything is just numbers? Not quite, because there's something more. There's experience, there's consciousness, there's the feeling of what it's like to be you. Can mathematics explain that? This is the hard problem of consciousness. We can describe the brain mathematically, but can we describe the mind? Can we explain qualia, the subjective experience of seeing red, feeling pain, experiencing love? Mathematics is incredibly powerful. It's given us technology, science, understanding. But it might not be the complete picture. There might be aspects of reality that are beyond mathematics. Or perhaps we just haven't found the right mathematics yet. Perhaps somewhere in the infinite landscape of possible mathematical structures, there's one that explains everything: matter, life, mind, and consciousness. Now relax and breathe deeply. Feel the mathematical precision of your heartbeat, the rhythm of your breathing, the patterns of neural activity in your brain. You are a mathematical marvel, a complex equation walking around, thinking, feeling. And yet you're more than that too. You're an experiencing being, a conscious entity. And that might be the greatest mystery of all. And now we're ready for the final level, the level that brings everything together, where all the previous levels, physical, quantum, biological, mental, social, and mathematical, unite into one unified understanding. We're going to talk about the unified reality, the ultimate level where everything is one. Chapter 8, Level 7, the unified reality, the unified reality. We've journeyed through 6 levels of reality. We've seen the physical world of matter and energy. We've explored the quantum realm of probabilities and uncertainties. We've marveled at the biological world of life and evolution. We've examined the mental world of thoughts and consciousness. We've understood the social world of shared beliefs. And we've discovered the mathematical world of numbers and patterns. But now, at this final level, we come to the understanding that all of these are not separate. They're all parts of one unified reality. This idea isn't new. Ancient philosophers in India spoke of Brahman, the ultimate reality underlying everything. They said, Tat tvamasi, thou art that, meaning you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. Chinese philosophy spoke of the Tao, the way, the underlying principle that flows through everything. Modern physics is coming to similar conclusions through science. Let's understand this step by step. The physical world, we've learned, is not really solid. It's mostly empty space with tiny particles held together by forces. And those particles at the quantum level aren't really particles at all. They're probability waves, mathematical functions, information. So already the physical merges with the quantum and the mathematical. Now, where does biology fit? Living things are made of atoms following quantum and physical laws. But life has this special property: it creates order, it evolves, it adapts. Yet even this can be understood as complex chemistry, which is complex physics, which is quantum mechanics at base. So biological reality emerges from physical and quantum reality. And consciousness, your mind, that's where it gets really interesting. Your thoughts are patterns of neural activity. Your neurons fire according to electrochemical laws. Those chemicals follow quantum rules. So your mind emerges from biology, which emerges from chemistry, which emerges from physics, which emerges from quantum mechanics. Your thoughts are ultimately quantum events in your brain. But here's the paradox. All our knowledge of quantum mechanics of atoms of the universe comes through our minds. We observe, we measure, we think, and that's how we know reality. So in a deep sense, mind and matter aren't separate. They're two aspects of one thing. The universe knows itself through conscious beings. We are the universe becoming aware of itself. Social reality, too, isn't separate. It emerges from the interaction of minds, which are brains, which are biological systems, which are chemical systems, which are physical systems. So social reality is also connected to all the other levels. And mathematics, it describes it all, from the quantum to the cosmic, from the simple to the complex. Mathematics is the language of reality. Some scientists talk about the theory of everything, one equation that would explain all of physics. The four fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear forces, unified into one. Matter and energy explained. Space and time understood. This would be a mathematical unification of the physical universe. But even if we had that, would it explain life? Would it explain consciousness? Maybe. If we understand how complex systems behave, how order emerges from chaos, how information processes, maybe we can explain how lifeless atoms become living cells, and how those cells create thinking minds. This is called emergence. Higher levels of organization create new properties that couldn't be predicted from lower levels alone. Think of water. A water molecule is H2O simple. But billions of water molecules together create waves, currents, the ability to dissolve things, the property of wetness. You can't find wet in a single molecule. Wetness emerges from many molecules together. Similarly, consciousness might emerge from billions of neurons firing together. It's not in any one neuron. It's in the pattern, the organization, the whole. This is the unified reality. Everything is connected. Everything emerges from simpler things but creates new properties at higher levels. Atoms make molecules. Molecules make cells. Cells make organisms. Organisms make ecosystems. Minds make societies. And all of this follows mathematical laws that we're slowly discovering. But there's something more. Something that science is just beginning to touch. The role of the observer. In quantum mechanics, observation changes reality. The act of measuring makes the wave function collapse. So consciousness isn't just observing reality, it's participating in creating reality. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that consciousness is fundamental, not emergent. That mind isn't a product of matter, but that matter and mind are two aspects of something more basic. What could that be? Some call it information. The universe might fundamentally be information. Quantum bits of information that, when organized in certain ways, create matter, energy, space, time, life, and mind. This is a radical idea, but it fits with what we're learning. The laws of physics can be written as information processing rules. The universe might be a vast quantum computer, computing itself into existence. Or perhaps consciousness itself is the ground of being. Perhaps mind isn't in the brain is in mind. Universal consciousness, and we're each a localized expression of it. Like waves on the ocean, each wave seems separate, but it's all one ocean. This is what mystics have said for millennia, and now some scientists are taking it seriously. The unified reality means seeing yourself not as a separate thing, but as a process within the larger process of the universe. You're not in the universe, you are the universe. Every atom in your body was forged in stars. Every breath you take connects you to all other life. Every thought you think is the universe thinking. You are not a spectator watching reality from outside. You are reality experiencing itself from inside. This understanding can bring profound peace, because if you're not separate, then there's nothing to fear. Death isn't an end, but a transformation. The atoms that make you will return to the universe and become other things. The energy that animates you will flow elsewhere. Nothing is lost. Everything is recycled. You're part of an eternal dance. And more, if everything is connected, then what you do matters. Your actions ripple through the web of connections. Your thoughts influence the collective human consciousness. Your love, your kindness, your creativity add to the total beauty of the universe. You're not insignificant, you're essential. The universe wouldn't be complete without you. As you lie here now, feel this connection. Feel yourself as part of everything. The air you breathe once was in someone else's lungs. The water in your body once was in clouds, in rivers, in ancient seas. The carbon in your cells once was in plants, in animals, in the very earth. You're made of star stuff, Carl Sagan said, and it's true. Feel the layers we've explored, the solid physical body, the quantum particles dancing, the cells living and dying and being born again, the mind thinking, feeling, being aware, the social connections to everyone you know and love, the mathematical elegance underlying it all, and finally, the unified reality. All of these layers are one. You are one with everything. This is the ultimate truth that every spiritual tradition has pointed to. That science is now confirming, that you can experience directly if you go deep enough. The separation is an illusion, useful, necessary for practical life, but ultimately not real. What's real is the oneness, the interconnection, the unity. And as you drift into sleep, carry this understanding with you. You're safe because you're part of everything. You're loved because you're love itself in human form. You're eternal because energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. You're infinite because the universe is infinite and you are the universe. Sleep now, dear traveler. You've journeyed through all 7 levels of reality, from the physical to the unified. And in your dreams, perhaps you'll experience even more. Perhaps you'll touch that ultimate reality directly, where all questions dissolve, where all is one, where peace reigns eternal. Good night. Rest well. And know that you are, always have been, and always will be part of the eternal dance of existence, the universe dreaming itself into being, and you are one of its most beautiful dreams. Chapter 9. The observer effect, the watcher and the watched. Now we are entering a topic that is perhaps the deepest mystery of reality. This is the observer effect. When we look at reality, are we just watching it, or are we also changing it? Is observation a part of reality? And if that's true, then what role does consciousness play in this universe? These questions trouble both science and philosophy, so lie down comfortably. Keep your breathing calm, and let's go on this deep journey where we'll understand how the watcher and the watched are inseparably connected. To understand the observer effect, we need to go back to quantum mechanics. Remember that double-slit experiment we talked about earlier? When you send an electron toward 2 slits and you don't watch which slit it goes through both slits at the same time, like a wave. But as soon as you try to watch, as soon as you put a detector to find out which slit the electron went through, the behavior changes instantly. Now the electron goes through only one slit, like a particle. So the act of watching itself changes reality. This fact is so strange that scientists have been struggling with it for years. Niels Bohr, who was one of the founders of quantum mechanics, said that until we observe, there is no reality. There are only possibilities. And when we observe, the wave function of possibilities collapses and a definite reality appears. This means that observation creates reality, not just sees it. But here's a big question. What does observation mean? Does it have to be a human watching, or can a machine also observe? If a camera is recording but no human is watching, is that observation? And if a cat is watching, will that count? These questions lead to the famous thought experiment of Schrödinger's cat. Erwin Schrödinger imagined an experiment where a cat is in a closed box. Inside the box is a quantum event that has a 50% chance of happening, and if it happens, it will kill the cat. So until you open the box, according to quantum mechanics, the cat is both alive and dead at the same time, and only when you open the box does reality get decided. This sounds absurd, and Schrödinger suggested this experiment exactly to show that something is wrong with the interpretation of quantum mechanics. But till now, no better explanation has been found. Some scientists say that consciousness is necessary for observation. Only a conscious being can collapse reality. According to this idea, consciousness is fundamental, a basic part of the universe, and reality remains in possibilities until a conscious being observes it. This idea matches some ancient philosophical traditions, like Vedanta, which says that consciousness is the only reality and everything else is its expression. Other scientists say no, consciousness isn't needed. Any measurement, whether done by a machine or a human, can collapse reality. According to this idea, what matters is interaction. When a quantum system interacts with a larger system, its wave function collapses. So consciousness isn't anything special, it's just another physical process. But then another question comes. If consciousness isn't needed for measurement, then when did all this start? At the time of the Big Bang, there was no conscious being, so who observed the universe and made it real? Some scientists say that maybe the universe observes itself. It's a self-referential system. Or maybe conscious beings in the future are affecting the past. Or maybe, as the many worlds interpretation says, all possibilities are real in different universes. The observer effect isn't just at the quantum level. We can see it at the mental and social levels too. In psychology, there's a phenomenon called the Hawthorne effect. When people know they're being watched, they behave differently. If an employee knows their boss is watching, they'll work harder. If a child knows their parents are watching, they'll behave better. So watching itself changes behavior. At the social level, this is also true. When the media covers an event, it's not just reporting, it's shaping that event. People's opinions can change, new protests can happen, the government can take action. So observation and reporting change reality. This shows that the observer effect exists at every level. Now here's a deep philosophical question. If observation creates reality, does the universe need observation to exist? Some philosophers, like Bishop Berkeley, said yes, to be is to be perceived. What isn't being observed doesn't exist. But then a question comes. Do things still exist when no one is watching? When you leave a room, does the room disappear? Berkeley's answer was that God is always watching, so everything always exists. But science doesn't have a good answer to this. The observer effect teaches us one important thing, and that is, we are not separate from reality. We're not just passive observers watching the world from outside. We are active participants who are creating reality. Every time we see something, every time we make a measurement, every time we make a decision, we are shaping reality. This idea is very powerful. It means we are creators of reality, not just consumers. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our observations, all together they create the world we live in. If we focus on negativity, our world will seem negative. If we focus on positivity, our world will seem positive. So we have the power to choose our reality. But this power also brings responsibility. If we are creators of reality, then we are also accountable. We can't blame others. We can't blame circumstances. We are responsible for our reality. And this is a difficult but liberating truth. Now pause for a moment and feel your consciousness. Right now you are aware. You're hearing these words, understanding these thoughts. This awareness, this consciousness, is perhaps the most mysterious aspect of the universe. And perhaps it's also the most fundamental. Some philosophers say that consciousness comes first, matter comes later. Matter is the expression of consciousness, not the other way around. This idea is called panpsychism, meaning universal consciousness. According to this, consciousness is everywhere in everything, even in atoms. Larger consciousness, like ours, is formed from combinations of smaller consciousness. This idea sounds strange, but some serious philosophers and scientists believe it. Because if consciousness isn't everywhere, if some things have it and some don't, then where's the boundary? When does a group of atoms become conscious and when doesn't it? There's no good answer to this question. But if consciousness is everywhere, this problem doesn't remain. The observer effect also teaches us that dualism is perhaps wrong. Dualism means the watcher and the watched are separate, but quantum mechanics shows they aren't separate. The observer and the observed are part of the same system. When you watch something, you become entangled with it. You and it don't remain separate. This leads to non-dualism. This idea says there's actually no separation. Everything is one. The watcher and the watched, subject and object, I and you, all are different aspects of the same reality. This idea is very ancient in the Upanishads, in Buddhist philosophy, in Taoism. And now modern science is also pointing in this direction. If everything is one, what does that mean? It means when you harm others, you harm yourself. When you help others, you help yourself. Because deeply there is no other. Everyone is you in different forms. This idea is the foundation of compassion and love. When we understand we're all one, we naturally become kind and loving. So now breathe comfortably and feel this unity. You are the watcher and the watched. You are the observer and the observed. You are that part of the universe that is watching itself, knowing itself, experiencing itself. And now we're moving forward to another important topic that's deeply connected to the observer effect. We'll talk about time, that mysterious dimension that connects the past, present, and future. Chapter 10. Reality and Time. The reality of time. Now we're entering perhaps the most mysterious aspect of reality, time. What is time? This question has troubled philosophers, scientists, and poets for centuries. Where does time come from? Why does it flow in one direction? Are the past, present, and future truly separate, or is this just our illusion? So lie down comfortably, keep your eyes closed, and let's go on this deep journey where we'll understand how time works in different layers of reality. First, let's understand how we experience time. For us, time is like a river flowing in one direction. We can remember the past, we're living in the present, and we can imagine the future. We can't go backward. We can't stop time. Events happen in a sequence, first this, then that. This is our everyday experience. But when we look deeply, we find that time isn't as simple as it seems. In physical reality, until Newton's time, time was considered absolute, meaning time is the same everywhere, flows at the same speed. If 1 hour passes on Earth, 1 hour also passes on the Moon, in a distant galaxy too. But then Einstein came and everything changed. He showed that time is relative. Time's speed changes according to your speed and according to gravity. Einstein's theory of relativity says that if you travel at very high speed, time will slow down for you. Suppose one twin brother stays on Earth and the other travels in a rocket near the speed of light. When the rocket brother returns, he'll find his brother has aged while he himself is still much younger, because for him, time moved slower. This sounds like science fiction, but it's true. It's been proven with very accurate clocks. Similarly, gravity also affects time. Near a black hole where gravity is very powerful, time becomes very slow. If you watch someone fall into a black hole, it'll seem like they're falling slowly and will freeze when they reach the event horizon. But for the falling person, everything will seem normal. So time is relative, different for everyone. Einstein also showed that time and space aren't separate but joined together. This is called space-time. We don't live in 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. We live in 4 dimensions of space-time, and gravity is actually the bending of space-time. So time is a dimension like space, but a little different. Now here's an interesting question. If time is a dimension like space, why can't we move back and forth in it? We can go in any direction in space, so why not in time? There's nothing in the laws of physics that makes time travel impossible. Some equations even allow going backward in time, but still, we can't do it. Why? The answer is perhaps in entropy. Remember entropy disorder. The second law of thermodynamics says the total entropy of the universe always increases. Things move from organized to disorganized. A cup of tea cools down, doesn't heat up. Scattered pieces of paper don't come together by themselves. And this increase in entropy gives time a direction. We call the past the time when entropy was lower, and the future the time when entropy will be higher. So the arrow of time is connected to entropy. But then a question comes, why was entropy so low in the beginning? At the time of the Big Bang, the universe was very organized with very low entropy. Since then, entropy has been constantly increasing. But why? This is a deep mystery. In quantum reality, time becomes even stranger. In some quantum experiments, it seems like particles can know the future. In the delayed choice experiment, the decision you make now affects what happened in the past. This sounds impossible, but experiments show this. So maybe at the quantum level, time isn't as straightforward as we think. Some physicists, like Julian Barber, say that time doesn't actually exist at all. They say time is an illusion. Actually, there are only different configurations, different moments. They all exist together. We feel time is flowing because our consciousness is jumping from one moment to another, collecting memories one after another. But actually, all moments always exist. This is the idea of the block universe, where past, present, and future all exist together in a 4-dimensional block. If this is true, what does it mean? It means what has happened is still somewhere present, and what's going to happen is already somewhere present. So then what about free will? the future already exists, can we really make choices? These are very deep philosophical questions that don't have easy answers. In mental reality, time becomes even more personal. You've noticed that when you're having fun, time passes quickly, and when you're bored, time moves very slowly. For children, 1 year seems very long, but for old people, 1 year passes very quickly. So psychological time is different from physical time. It depends on your mental state, your age, your experience. And then there's the time of memory. We don't remember the past as it was. We reconstruct it a little different each time. Some old memories feel very fresh, like yesterday. Some recent memories become blurry. So our personal timeline is also very flexible, very personal. In meditation and mindfulness practice, the experience of time changes. When you're fully present, fully aware in this moment, time seems to stop. Past and future disappear. Only now remains. And in some deep meditation states, people say time completely disappears. They're in a timeless state where there's no past, no future, only eternal present. In biological reality, time also has its own way. Our bodies have biological clocks called circadian rhythms. They tell us when to sleep, when to wake. They sync with sunlight. But if you stay in a dark cave without any clock, your body will still maintain a cycle of about 24 hours. So biological time is woven into us. And then there's evolutionary time, that slow time in which species change generation after generation. In a human lifespan, very little change is visible. But over thousands or millions of years, very big changes happen. So biological time works at many levels, from seconds to millions of years. In social reality, time also has its own structure. We've divided time into seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. These divisions are man-made, social structures. Nature doesn't care if it's Monday or Wednesday, but for us, it matters. On weekends we rest, on Monday we start work. We celebrate New Year, celebrate birthdays. These are all structures of social time that shape our lives. And in different cultures, time is seen differently. In Western culture, time is seen linearly, like a straight line going from past to future. But in some Eastern cultures, time is seen cyclically, like a cycle that repeats again and again. Birth, death, then rebirth. Creation, destruction, then creation. So the concept of time is also cultural. In mathematical reality, time is a variable, a number that goes into equations. In most physics equations, time can go forward or backward in either direction. If you reverse time in an equation, the equation still works. So mathematically, time has no preferred direction. But still, we only experience it in one direction. Why? This is still an open question. Now pause for a moment and feel this moment. This moment right now, this is the only time that truly exists. The past is gone, only in memories. The future hasn't come yet, only in imagination. What's real is now. And this now is always here. Tomorrow, when it was tomorrow, it was now. And tomorrow, when it comes, it will be now. So there's always only now, eternal present. Understanding time gives us a new way to live life. If we understand that the present is real, we won't get stuck in the past, won't stay and worry about the future. We'll live in this moment fully, completely. And this is real life. So now breathe comfortably. Feel this moment. You're right here, right now. And this moment is perfect, complete. In this very moment, the entire universe exists. All possibilities exist. All realities exist. And now we're moving forward to that chapter where we'll see what practical use understanding all these realities has in our everyday life. Chapter 11. Practical implications, the levels of reality in our life. Now we've reached a very important chapter where we'll see what difference understanding these 7 levels of reality makes in our everyday life. Knowledge isn't just for information, it's to make life better. So lie down comfortably, keep your breathing calm, and let's understand how these deep truths can change our decisions, relationships, and quality of life. First, let's talk about using the understanding of physical reality. When you understand that your body is made of atoms and molecules that are constantly changing, you become more aware of your health. What you eat literally becomes part of you. What you breathe goes into your cells. So you choose good food, breathe fresh air, take care of your body. You understand that your body is a temple where the miracle of life is happening. And when you understand that everything is made of energy, you start thinking about energy sources. Why do you feel tired? Maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're eating the wrong food. Maybe you're too stressed. So you make changes in your lifestyle, build habits that give you energy. The understanding of quantum reality teaches us a very powerful lesson, and that is the power of possibility. Until you do something, everything is in possibility. Your future isn't fixed. Every moment you have choices, and those choices create your reality. So you don't live like a victim, but like a creator. You understand that you have the power to change your life. And the observer effect teaches us that whatever you focus on grows. If you keep focusing on your problems, they'll seem bigger. If you focus on your blessings, you'll feel grateful and happy. So you consciously choose what you want to focus on. You focus your attention on positive, constructive things. The understanding of biological reality teaches us that life is a process, not a state. You're constantly changing. Your cells are dying and new ones are forming. Your body is healing, adapting. So if you're sick right now, it's not permanent. Your body is trying to heal. You just have to help it by giving it the right food, rest, reducing stress. And when you understand that you're the result of evolution, millions of years of it, you better understand some of your habits. Like the desire to eat sweets because for our ancestors, sweet things were rare and gave a lot of energy, or fear, which protects us from danger. These habits aren't always helpful in the modern world, but when you understand where they come from, you can work with them better. The understanding of mental reality is perhaps the most practical. When you understand that your thoughts and emotions are creations of your brain, you become less attached to them. You understand that a negative thought is just a mental event, not an absolute truth. You can see that thought, recognize it, and then let it go. You don't become its slave. And when you understand that your perception isn't reality but your interpretation of reality, you become more open-minded. You understand that other people can see things differently and both can be right from their perspective. This increases empathy, reduces arguments. You try to understand others' perspectives. The understanding of neuroplasticity is very powerful. When you know your brain can change, make new connections, you never give up. You can learn anything, change any habit, develop any skill. You just need practice, patience. Every time you practice, you're rewiring your brain. So you invest in learning, growing, developing. The practice of meditation and mindfulness is the best way to understand mental reality. When you meditate, you learn to watch your thoughts without getting lost in them. You understand you're not your thoughts, but the watcher who's watching the thoughts. And this understanding is very liberating. You don't remain a slave to your thoughts and emotions, but become their master. The understanding of social reality teaches us that many things we consider fixed are actually social constructions. Money, position, prestige, all these are important only because we consider them important. So you can redefine your values. You can decide what's important to you, not based on what society expects, but based on your own heart. And when you understand that social realities can be changed, you're not afraid to work for social change. If a social practice is wrong, unjust, you try to change it. You raise awareness, educate people, present better alternatives. You understand that your voice matters, your actions can make a difference. The understanding of mathematical reality teaches us to learn to see patterns. There are many patterns in life. If you feel bad every Saturday night, maybe there's a pattern. Maybe you eat too much on Friday or stay up too late. When you learn to see patterns, you can identify the roots of problems and fix them. And understanding numbers helps us make better decisions. When you look at data, look at numbers, you can think beyond emotions. Like if you track your expenses, you can see where your money is going and where you can save. Numbers don't lie, and they give you clarity. The understanding of unified reality gives us a holistic perspective. When you have a problem, you think about what level the problem is at. If you're sick, is it just physical or is there a mental aspect too? Maybe stress is weakening your immune system. If you're sad, is it just mental or social too? Maybe you're suffering from loneliness and need more social connection. So you look for solutions at the right level. The understanding of the observer effect gives you the power of your attention. You deliberately start focusing on good things. You keep a gratitude journal where you write 3 things every day that you're grateful for, and slowly your brain gets better at seeing good things. Your life doesn't become better, but your experience becomes better. And in the end, experience is what matters. The understanding of time teaches us to live in the present. We don't live in regret of the past, don't live in worry about the future. We're in this moment because this is the only moment that's real. And when we're in the present, we feel fully alive. We're fully present with the person we're talking to. We're fully immersed in the work we're doing. And this completeness, this presence, enriches life. Understanding all these levels makes one thing very clear to us, and that is connection. We're not separate. We're connected to each other, connected to nature, connected to the universe. So when we harm others, we harm ourselves. When we harm nature, we harm our home. So we're more careful, more responsible, more kind. And finally, understanding all these realities gives us peace. We understand that life is a mystery, a miracle. We don't know everything, and that's okay. We're small in this vast universe, but we're also important. We're that part of the universe that's knowing itself, experiencing itself. And this is a wonderful gift. So now breathe comfortably. Feel that you have all the tools to live a better life. You understand physical, quantum, biological, mental, social, mathematical, and unified realities. Now you just have to apply this understanding to your everyday life. Take small steps, improve a little every day, and see how your life changes. And now we're reaching the final chapter of our journey, where we'll bring everything together for a peaceful conclusion that will take you into deep sleep. Chapter 12. Conclusion and reflection, the end of reality's journey. Now we've reached the end of this wonderful journey. You've traveled through the 7 levels of reality, from physical to unified. You've seen how atoms join to make molecules, molecules join to make life, life joins to make consciousness, consciousness joins to make society. And behind all this, mathematical patterns are working. You've understood that all these levels aren't separate but parts of a vast connected whole. So now lie down comfortably, keep your eyes closed, and let's take one final peaceful reflection on this journey that will take you into deep, restful sleep. When we started this journey, we asked a simple question: what is reality? And now, after seeing so many levels, we understand there's no one simple answer to this question. Reality is multidimensional, multi-layered, complex. But this complexity isn't a problem, it's its beauty. Like a diamond has many facets, and each facet gives off different light. Similarly, reality has many levels, and each level shows something different. You saw that at the physical level, reality seems solid, stable. But when you go deeper at the quantum level, everything becomes fluid, turns into possibilities. Then at the biological level, lifeless atoms become life, and life has its own purpose, its own direction. Then at the mental level, biological processes become consciousness, and consciousness creates a whole inner world. Then at the social level, individual minds join together to create shared realities. And at the mathematical level, behind everything are numbers and patterns that control everything. And finally, at the unified level, all these levels become one, creating an indivisible whole. This journey wasn't just intellectual. It was a deep personal journey because you yourself represent all these levels. You are atoms, molecules, cells, a living being, a conscious mind, a social person, a mathematical pattern. You are all of this together. And when you understand this, you see yourself in a new light. You're not just a body. You're a process, a journey. You're that river in which the universe's water is flowing. You're that window through which the universe is watching itself. You're that instrument through which existence is playing its music. And this isn't poetic metaphor, it's literal truth. The atoms in your body were made in stars. The carbon in your body was once part of some ancient tree. Your thoughts are the result of centuries of cultural evolution. You're not alone. You're not separate. You're an integral part of this vast connected universe. And when you understand this, a lot changes. Your fear reduces because you understand that death isn't an end but a transformation. The atoms of your body won't die, they'll just take new forms. They'll become trees, soil, air, new creatures. You'll always be part of this universe, just in a different form. Your loneliness reduces because you understand you were never alone. You were always part of this vast network. Every breath you take connects you to trees. Every meal you eat connects you to the earth. Every thought you think connects you to your culture. You're part of a vast web, and every thread is important. Your worry reduces because you understand that many things you worry about are social constructions. Money, position, prestige, these are important only because we consider them important. And you can choose what's important to you. You can make your own priorities that come from your heart, not from society's expectations. And most importantly, your peace increases because you understand that everything is okay. The universe isn't chaos but order. Mathematical laws are controlling it. Evolution is shaping it. Consciousness is experiencing it. And you're at the center of all this, the witness of all this. Now just feel your body, which is so calm and comfortable. Feel your breathing, which has become so slow and deep. Feel your consciousness, which is so clear and peaceful. These are all different levels of reality, all together, all in you. Now as you're going into sleep, remember that sleep is also a level of reality. Dreams are an expression of your mental reality. Deep sleep is the state where your body and brain heal themselves, biological reality gets to work. And maybe in sleep, when the conscious mind becomes quiet, you're closer to that unified reality where all divisions disappear. So just relax now. You don't have to do anything. Don't have to think about anything. Just let it be. Just let yourself be. You're safe. You're loved. You're a valuable part of this vast universe. As your eyelids are getting heavy, as your breathing is getting slower, as your body is sinking into the bed, feel that you're not just sleeping. You're going back to that unity, that wholeness from where we all came and where we'll all return. The 7 levels of reality are always here, always working. Whether you're awake or asleep, all levels are present. You're both particle and wave at the same time. You're both body and mind at the same time. You're both individual and part of society at the same time. You're both temporary and eternal at the same time. These aren't contradictions but complementarities. All of this is true at different levels. And as you're sinking into deep sleep, go with one last thought. Reality is a mystery, a miracle, a gift. And you've been given this gift to experience it, to know it, to live in it. So be grateful, grateful for every breath, grateful for every heartbeat, grateful for every moment. Because these are all miracles, small miracles happening every moment. Now completely relax. Let go of all thoughts, all worries, all tension. Just sink into this deep, peaceful sleep. And when you wake up tomorrow, you'll feel fresh, feel new, and maybe you'll see the world from a slightly different perspective, with more depth, with more understanding. Because now you know what reality is, you know who you are, and you know where you fit in this vast, wonderful universe. Good night, sweet dreams. And remember that you're a living representation of all 7 levels of reality. You are a miracle, you are complete, you are enough, and now sleep with complete peace. Thank you for completing this journey through the 7 levels of reality with Mr. Sleepy Science. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you keep getting notifications of our new videos. Sleep peacefully, sleep deeply, and wake up tomorrow ready for a new day.